Minneapolis Citizens Academy to provide the New Prague community with a presentation about social media safety. This presentation will provide information on how parents and guardians can help their child stay safe while using technology and social media. We are very excited to have with us tonight the following presenters: Scott County Sheriff, Mr. Luke Hennon. Scott County, yeah, absolutely. Scott County Attorney, Ron Hosevar. And from the FBI Minneapolis Citizens Academy Association, Jessica Harstad and Kathy Hotakinen. And on behalf of the New Prague School District, if we don't do it later on, but we'd just like to thank all of those folks, our presenters, for being here tonight and taking the time out for all of us. As we know, social media continues to play a role in our youth's daily lives. In planning this event, the focus of our district's mental health team was to provide a resource to parents and guardians in hopes to better educate everyone on the significance and potential dangers of social media. We feel very fortunate to have such great resources here with us tonight. We hope this presentation will provide a framework for ongoing discussions between you and your child about social media and the importance of continued communication on this topic. To be respectful of your time, this evening we have scheduled time at the end of the presentation for questions and answers. On each corner down below, we have a microphone, which when our three presenters are completed, we will kind of turn into a question and answer time. And I would just say right at the beginning, there is no dumb question, because if you're thinking it, the people to the left and to the right and in front and back are thinking it too. So we would ask for some folks to kind of get that started and help us with a little question and answer time. So without any further ado, I'd like to bring up our Scott County Attorney, Mr. Ron Hosevar.
Good evening. Get my PowerPoint going. Okay, who's, have a show of hands. Hey, so parents, raise your hands. Okay. For the parents, how many have children? Okay. And of those people, how many of your children have cell phones? Well, pretty much almost everybody. So that's why we're here. Talk about cell phones, specifically smartphones. One of the best inventions for parents, one of the worst inventions for parents. Sexting. All the kids are doing it, right? We're seeing it here in Scott County. My office has had to deal with some sexting cases out of various jurisdictions, specifically child pornography. And that's where sexting comes into play with your kids in using their phones for sexting. So what is sexting? We all know what it is, right? Using your cell phones or computers, whatever means you have available, for sending explicit pictures or texts of a sexual nature. Now the texts, I'm here to talk about the legal issues for sexting and how kids can get in trouble with that. And how this all came about is when I started getting these issues into the office about teen sexting. We started looking at it, and I think these teenagers understand that what they're doing is wrong. They know they shouldn't be sending naked pictures to their friends. They know it's wrong, but they don't understand exactly how wrong it is. They don't understand the lifelong legal implications of what they can get in trouble for and how that can affect them throughout their whole life. Now for sexting, I can't do anything about texts. That's speech. It's protected speech. Unless it gets into issues of cyberbullying, threats, that type of thing. But your regular, vulgar, sexual nature texts, it's a parenting issue. It's not an issue, it's not a legal issue. It's the sexually explicit pictures, the child pornography, which we'll get into those definitions in a little bit, that will get your children into trouble, legally. So sexting, it's a major part of everyday communication with their friends. You've all seen it with your kids on their cell phones, with just regular apps, Snapchat, all the various apps for texting friends. That's how they communicate these days. They're all on their text, they're all on their cell phones. They created sexting. Now I'm going to do some stats here. I've looked up various stats throughout the nation. They're all pretty similar as far as what studies were done. We can say 54% of college students said they sent sexually explicit photos when they were under 18 years of age. Now, of course, a minor is under 18 years of age. Anyone under 18 that sends these sexually explicit photographs, that's child pornography. That's distribution, that's manufacturing, that's possession with child pornography. One in 5 teens, 1/3 of 20-somethings, and I think that's probably low, have done this sexual texting. And again, it's the pictures and the video. But wow, I can't do anything about the words unless it goes into those other areas I was talking about. Cyberbullying, which the sexually explicit photos promote. Their cyberbullying comes across or comes about because of that. Again, some more stats. 1/3 of teen boys, 40% of young men have reported receiving or seeing private photos. They have nude photos sent of themselves electronically from their girlfriends, people they want to date. And again, 40% of young men have reported receiving this. Now, you get something on your phone, you can't really control that, right? Somebody sends you a photograph, you didn't ask for it. If you didn't ask for it, you're not going to get in trouble for that, as long as you delete it and don't forward it on. If you forward it on, and it's child pornography, you're now a distributor of child pornography, and that will get you a felony, which I'll get into in the future. But again, you can't control what you get, but when you get it, it has to be destroyed. 15% of males are disseminating explicit images when they break up with their girlfriends. Revenge porn, we call it, in the adult world. Girls are trusting of their boyfriends, thinking that they'll never do such a terrible thing. I'm dealing with a case right now where a 14-year-old girl sent photos of a sexual nature to her boyfriend, to her 16-year-old boyfriend. They broke up. He forwarded those photographs on to his friends. Of course, they looked at them. Fast forward a couple years, she's 16. She is dating another individual, another 16-year-old, sends that individual sexually specific pictures. They break up. He forwarded them on. And she said to the investigators, well, I didn't think he would do it, even though the last guy did it. So again, I think what I'm going to get to at the end, the basic gist of this talk is ask, talk, and listen to your kids. They need to know what these implications are, and you need to know as parents what they're doing. And again, I don't think not to be sexist, but you are going to see where the girls are going to be more trusting with the boyfriends. That's what we see nationwide. It's mostly the girls that are sending the pictures to the boys who request them. And this is why. Peer pressure. You can hear it now, right? Or see it now, right? The texts going from the boyfriend. Well, please send me a photograph. A dirty photograph. The girl responds, no. oh, come on, Jen did it for Ryan. Amy did it for Ben. Everyone's doing it. So she gets talked into it. Peer pressure. This is an article. This is what the kids are reading. To be a part of the cool crowd, you have to text. You have to sext. This is the way that they flirt these days. This is how they communicate. And they're being told by the rest of the social media world out there, who we all know our kids are very intimately involved with. They read this stuff. If you're not sexting, you're not part of the cool crowd. Peer pressure. Again, this is a magazine, Cosmo, I'm sure you're all familiar with it. It's the new love letter. This is, again, what our kids are being exposed to. This is what they're reading on social media. I didn't get this quote by a Cosmo article, because I didn't read Cosmo, but it was quoted in a different article that your kids would read, that they would be seeing on social media. And again, peer pressure, whether it's from their friends, or if it's from the whole social internet community, if you're not sexting, you're not part of the cool crowd. It's a new way to keep the spark alive in your relationship. And again, the whole peer pressure thing. You've seen this before too. The boy is going to break up with the girl. The girl doesn't want to break up. Well, okay, we won't break up, but send me a sexual picture. Send me a sexual picture. So she does, to try to keep the spark alive in their relationship. And again, this Ask Men, it's an internet magazine. And again, this didn't come from me looking at the magazine, but it was in another article just about sexting. And again, they're telling you why. It's the torture, the lead up, the fun, the game, it's entertainment. And this is what your kids are reading online. Sexting is entertainment. It's love. It's the way to keep your boyfriend. It's the way to keep your girlfriend. Everyone's doing it. Come on, send me a picture. I thought this one was interesting. 52% of girls did so as a sexy present to a boyfriend, and 34% have done it in sexually suggestive content to feel sexy. To feel sexy. Image, self-esteem. Again, their boyfriends are saying, we're breaking up. Well, I don't like you anymore. Why, don't I look good enough for you? Well, send me a picture. Let's see. They're trying to feel sexy, self-esteem, peer pressure. And again, you can see is how they flirt. They want to date or hook up with that person. It's the new flirting. The sex. Starts with the words, hey, you look hot. Should we go out? You look really good today. Liked you in that dress. Blah, blah, blah. What's next? Send me a picture. Here we get into the laws. Like I said, my office has had to deal with this on several occasions in the last couple of years. One case out of a different school district, we charged 4 individuals with possession of child pornography, 1 person with distribution. We're currently in the middle of an investigation in another school district on similar type things. On the case that we charged individuals, the case that's over, the images went so far where we actually had to stop the investigation and just tell the kids, okay, if you have these images, bring them in, we'll wipe the phone clean. If you're honest with us, you're not going to get charged. So we charged the main individuals that we felt were the most culpable in what was being put out there. But it was shared within locker room teammates, and that the image, which I'm going to get into, is out there forever. And it got sent to so many people. I mean, we could have been investigating people across the nation. So that's a lesson to you, the kids out there who are listening. Once that image is sent, you no longer have any control over it. People will tell you it's deleted. People will tell you that they wipe their phone off of it, but if they forwarded it on to one person, that person forwards it on to two, that person forwards it on, people across the world are eventually going to get this picture, and it will never, ever go away. The child pornography statute that we use to charge people, it was written before teen sexting. It was meant for the sexual predators out there. It was meant to keep your kids safe from sexual predators. It wasn't meant to keep them from sending sexually explicit pictures to their boyfriends or anything else. So it's really, I don't want to say out of date, but it's not meant for this purpose. But we use it for that when we have to. And like I said when I started this presentation, the kids out there, you kids out there, you know it's wrong. You know you shouldn't be sending a picture to your boyfriend or girlfriend of a sexual nature. But you don't understand the legal lifelong consequences. And this is the Minnesota statute. I'm not going to go over it in detail, you can read it, but what it comes down to is minors, anyone under 18, you cannot use a minor in the portrayal of any sexual, pornographic portrayal, any kind of a sexual image. You can't use them to make it, you can't use them to distribute it, and you can't possess it. So you have manufacturing, distribution, and possession. And again, this was meant to protect your kids from child predators, not to protect them from themselves, from sending explicit photographs out. And this is the disseminates. You can see that pornographic work and sexual performance or pornographic work. What does that mean, right? What's a sexual performance? What's a pornographic work? There's a famous Supreme Court case out there from a long time ago. If any of you are any kind of a legal nerd like I am, you'll know that there's a Supreme Court justice, supposed to be one of our brightest people, right? When asked to define pornography, he said, well, I don't know what it is. You can't define it, but I know when I see it. So what is pornography? But the Minnesota legislature did define it for the purpose of us. A picture or sexual performance involving a minor, any visual depiction that uses a minor just to depict a simulated sexual conduct or appear that a minor is engaging in sexual conduct. So these are examples of sexual conduct. You can take a look at them. I don't need to read them out loud for you. All the things that you would assume to be sexual conduct are included in there. Now you'll notice that sexual conduct has to be an actual sexual conduct or simulated sexual conduct or sexual act. An individual, under Minnesota statute, is standing in front of a mirror, let's say, naked from the waist up, just standing there, regardless of age, under this statute, under Minnesota law. A 14-year-old doing that and sending it out is not child pornography, because it's not a sexual act, it's not sexual conduct. If it was a picture, full body picture, with genitals exposed, that is sexual conduct, that is a sexual act. See some confused looks out there. Exactly. But that's the way the statute reads. It has to be sexual conduct. So what are the social consequences for your kids out there? Bad reputation. You might think it's fun now. You might think it's fun when your boyfriend or girlfriend is reading that in their bedroom at night. But when you walk into school the next day, and people are laughing at you as you're walking down the hall, pointing fingers at you, and looking at their phones of a picture of you that you sent to your boyfriend, it will not be fun. Across the nation, boys and girls have committed suicide because their pictures have gotten out. And this is where you can get into what I was talking about before, about the words. Cyberbullying can come into play. You're going to get cyberbullied. Your picture could be out there on some internet site, people commenting on it, emailing you, texting you. And like I said before, once that image is sent, you have no further control over it. None whatsoever. You can do whatever you want to about it. You can call whoever you want to. You can talk to whoever you want to. But you will never, ever get that image back. It's out there forever. Anyone remember or have seen this in the news the last couple of weeks? Nobody? A couple of people? I'm a legal nerd, so I see this stuff. Anyway, Marine Corps just recently had a case of sexting that was made national news actually, where there's some Marines that were posting explicit pictures of other Marines. And even after the investigation came out, they continued doing it. And this was just back on the 22nd, this last week. And this is what they were saying about the sexting and the individual who had the website up. And all this relates to us. Is the individual that was depicted in one of them, this Kim, like I was just stating, you have no control over the pictures that you send out there. Years went by, and she's getting harassed. She'd get random text messages at work and say they'd send her pictures to her, and she'd break down. She'd say, they're out there, these same 3 to 5 pictures. She thought it was over. She thought she'd never see those pictures again. For every few years, they keep resurfacing, and they get forwarded to her. So, when you're out there, if you're sexting down, you send that picture to your boyfriend or girlfriend. You're 14, 15, 16 years old, it's no big deal. When it comes time, you're 19, 20 years old, applying to colleges, looking for a job, filling out job applications. Your admissions counselor Googles your name, your employer Googles your name, up pops your picture. Do you think you'll get into that school? Do you think you'll get that job? Doubtful. That picture will never, ever disappear. And going back to the Minnesota statute, we now have individuals from another jurisdiction or another school district looking at felony level charges. Felonies that will never go off their record. One of them is looking at possible sexual predator registration, where he'll be a registered sex offender for texting a picture and distributing it to all of his friends. Those are the lifelong consequences. The felonies, looking at jail time, depending on what the nature of the picture was, depending on the victim. And I should mention also that we're not looking to a 15-year-old girl who sends a picture to her boyfriend, absent exceptional circumstances. We're not going to charge that girl with a crime. We're not going to charge her with distribution of child pornography of her own picture. But the guy who gets it, and forwards it to his football team, that guy might probably get charged with possession and distribution. These are some real life cases. 18-year-old looking for a felony, 13-year-old boy facing felony charges, 16-year-old boy facing up to 7 years in prison for forwarding nude photographs. This is serious stuff. It's not fun and games. It's not flirting. They're felony level charges. Here in Scott County, child pornography, we currently have a team under investigation for possession and distribution of child pornography. See if we can play that clip. This is the one under investigation.
Several high school students were told it involves inappropriate images shared on cell phones.
And our Brandy Powell has been digging into these allegations all day. She's live in Shakopee now with what every student and parent needs to know. Brandy?
Right, Leah, authorities want to be clear tonight. The students allegedly involved may or may not face any kind of punishment, but in light of these allegations, students who go to Shakopee High School right behind me here say today staff spoke with them about their digital footprint and the importance of being safe while using technology.
Everyone in the school has heard about it, the whole situation.
Allegations of multiple students at Shakopee High sharing inappropriate photos using technology.
The fact that the pictures got shared with so many people is not really, that makes it like worse.
The Shakopee police chief says detectives are investigating.
It is something we're seeing a lot more of. Last year we had a handful of these exact type of complaints. It's certainly happening a lot more than probably most people realize.
The police chief says in this case, a Shakopee High School student approached a school resource officer on January 27th. Their investigation should wrap up in the next week or two. Findings then go to the Scott County Attorney's Office. Not referring to this active case, the county attorney says a number of factors are taken into account in cases involving sharing sexually explicit images.
What are those variables?
Each case is evaluated independently. Each case is extremely different from the next case. It all goes back to number one, what is the photograph? Is it a minor? Is it somebody under 18 years old? What does the photograph depict? Is it considered child pornography or not?
Does it shock you that people were even sharing inappropriate photos to begin with?
Not really. Like, I mean, if someone sends like explicit photos, they're probably going to share it with other people.
And Bill and Leah, tonight, the Shakopee superintendent urging parents to speak with their children about the dangers of inappropriate videos and photos. Also, the police chief and county attorney saying never send these to anyone, whether you know them or not. Also saying if someone does send them to you, do not send them to anyone else and to notify an adult in charge immediately. Live tonight in Shakopee, Brandy Powell, 5 Eyewitness News.
So you heard the one student say, when he was asked, were you surprised by this, that it got shared? His response, no, of course they're going to share it. So again, I would say to you teens out there, no matter how good you're getting along with your boyfriend or girlfriend, you send them a photograph, assume it's going to be forwarded on. Assume that that person is not going to be the only one seeing it. It made national news. The clip you just saw, that was on the CBS national news. So this is an issue nationwide. And you also got guys like this out there. This is in Scott County, Minnesota. These guys are charged by my office because they were online trying to have sex with underage girls. So these pictures are put out there. They become bait. Guys like this are out there looking for girls, teenage girls to have sex with. There's 10 people that were charged in the sting operation in Shakopee for wanting to come and have sex with underage girls. Adults, you aren't immune from this. Just because you're an adult doesn't mean you can't be charged for disseminating sexual images. Call it revenge porn. If you forward images of a person that you're in a relationship with, and that person did not want them sent on, you could also be charged. This is a brand new law that came into effect just last, I believe August 1st of last year. So what can you do? Be aware, ask and act. Be a parent, don't be a friend. You have to know what's going on. My daughter recently got a cell phone, unfortunately. And when I gave it to her, I said, whenever I want to look at this phone, you will hand it over immediately. If you don't, I will shut it off. So you have to be aware, you have to ask what they're doing, and you have to act. If they're doing something wrong, you have to act. Open communication. As uncomfortable as it is, talk to them about sexual abuse, talk to them about sex trafficking, and talk to them about sexting. Nobody wants to do this. Your kids don't want to hear it from you. You don't want to do it. But that's the job that we took when we decided to have kids. Pay attention to your children. Social media, it's a killer. Literally. Like I said, again, it's unfortunately almost always girls, but across the nation, there's been many girls that have committed suicide because of the images that they have sent, and then they become subject of cyberbullying, social outcasts. They can't take it anymore. They commit suicide. Very unfortunate. So I'm going to hand this off now to Sheriff Hennon. We will have questions, time for questions at the end, if you have any questions. So I appreciate you listening, and I'll let Luke, Sheriff Hennon, come on up and talk to you about some apps.
Thank you, Ron. Welcome. It's a great turnout tonight, and I just want to start out first by saying thank you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being involved in your community. By being here, that's one of the biggest steps you can take for prevention. You're looking for ways to parent and parent better and find out as much information as you can and get involved. I want to be honest that I don't have all the answers. So I'm standing up here, and you maybe came thinking that I'm going to tell you how it works and how to fix it and how to do it right next time, but I don't have the answers. Being a parent, I don't have the answers. I have a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old at home, and I'm humbled every day to realize I don't have the answers. I figure it out each day, and the parents in the room with teenagers, you probably are humbled even a little bit more every day on figuring it out and the new challenges you face every day. So this topic is not very light, not very easy, and I'm glad Ron got you to laugh a couple times because it's a tough one to talk about, but just thanks for coming and thanks for being involved. But who has the answers? It's us as a collective. The community has answers. If we work together, if we share and talk about and deal with these issues, we can figure out a lot of this. So that's why it's so important you're here, and I really want to thank the school district for hosting these events. They've hosted, I think it's 3 events now in the last 2 months on topics like this that are not easy, but they're so impactful for you and your children. So thanks to the school district for doing that, and also thanks for some of the resources that are here. We've got Southern Valley Alliance for Battered Women and the Sexual Violence Center that are here with information on the hallway. Talk to them, chat with them, support them in the community. They do a great heavy lift of helping that law enforcement can't do, the courts can't do. They're just a great partner with us. And also the public safety team in our area works hard. We got Chief Garris here from New Prague. Myself, him, the other chiefs, and Ron Hosfar meet monthly and talk about these issues and try to figure out as a group how to solve some of them, how to address them, and that trickles down to our officers and deputies on the street. They work hand in hand each day trying to make the community better, but once again, an involved community is what solves a lot of the problems. So whether it's this topic, or it's chemical abuse, or a burglary in your neighborhood, an engaged community working with us really brings it all together. So thank you for all of that. And now I'll jump into my topic, and I'm going to talk about apps today. And why did that topic come up? A member of our community, so back to why I think it's important that we talk and share with each other, is a member of the community brought up this topic and said it'd be really impactful to go out and speak to parents about why they need to know how the kids are using their phones and what's going on out there. So with that, I talked to one of our detectives who handles computer forensics, which means they search computers and cell phones and examine them for court to look for evidence. And they work on this every day. So I talked to them and found out some of the main apps that get used, and not that these apps maybe are bad, but found out how they're used in the context of what parents might not understand. So I'm going to talk through that briefly here and touch on some of those. And with that, I think taking that input from the community, and a single parent that asked that question, there's maybe 200 people today getting impacted by it. So it's great. Bring up these topics. Contact me. Contact Ron Hosvar with ideas, with things that are important to you, and hopefully we can get these topics addressed. So in speaking to our detectives, I got these 6 main kind of apps we're going to go through, and I wish I could talk about all of them, but there's probably 10 new ones that got created since I stood up here. So we're just going to jump into a few of the main ones. And like I said, more of it is so you understand how your kids could be using it. You may have the same app and look at their phone and say, well, they have that app, I know how to use it, but they may use it for a different reason than you. So I just want to touch on some of these. And a lot of these are self-explanatory, but like Kick Messenger is in the line of the texting apps. And why these texting apps are important to know, because I know myself, I use the texting app that came on my iPhone. So I text on there, and that's good enough. So as a parent, you may be looking at your children's phone every day and looking at their text messages and going, okay, I'm keeping an eye on it, but there's all these other apps out there that they use to communicate, do the same thing, and they send texts and messages and videos and photos. So, but some of these have unique features, like this Kick Messenger, if you read the stranger danger part, is it also could give some access to the strangers because it shares some information, some of the username information, and ways that these apps are designed, to connect people and make friends and join a community. But one of those photos that the guys around showed earlier could be the person on the other end of that app trying to figure out who a kid is in the area. So, Uvu is another app like that. Never heard of it before, it's like I told about it, but it's another one that's out there, and it's more of a group messaging thing. It's kind of good because you can only talk to people on your contact list. So they're not all bad. Some are good. Some have ways that are more controlled. You're not going to get involved in strangers or people on the outside connecting with you. Messenger, it's just the Facebook, the messaging app in Facebook. A lot of us use this as well, communicate that way. Another positive is to communicate. Most people would have to be friends on your list or would maybe be able to send you a message, but you need to be friends to really communicate and connect with them. So it's not all bad, but same thing, are you checking all these different areas to be aware of what some of those connections could be? Twitter. I think we can talk about this for a while because nobody's probably heard of it recently. It's kind of a oddball out there, I think. I don't think we hear about it enough on the news each night, but Twitter is back to when I talked to our detectives to get some advice of what are some topics to discuss. Twitter came up, and not so much that nobody knows what it is or how to use it. Sorry, my alarm was going off to remind me to be somewhere else last week. But some of the things that happen in the schools, for instance, are somebody will go and create a fake hashtag. So instead of hashtag New Prague Public Schools, they'll make hashtag NP Public Schools or something that's a little off from what the official one is. And then they'll start tweeting, and the other kids will be tweeting, and this will turn into the cyberbullying, the different ways the kids will gather around, and this will be a way to be, who's the hottest, person in this sports, or who's the whatever, derogatory assignment they're going to give somebody, and now it turns into this like online voting, but yet it almost appears that it's the school district doing it, and it becomes this big uproar because other people stumble into it as well. So a lot of it can be as well, if you're paying attention and looking at the phones and checking out things, it might be that it's a common app that you use daily or monitor daily, but don't realize how it could be used in a different setting. Snapchat. A lot of kids use it, it's very popular. As it notes in here, the myth. The photo does not go away forever. It goes away on that app forever, but if you take a screenshot of it or you get an add-on, there's different add-on apps too where you can use and then open Snapchat in them, and then it allows you to grab that photo or that image. So back to what Ron Holster was talking about, these photos, the girlfriend might think, well, I know it's not good to send these photos because they're here forever, but I'll use Snapchat. And then they'll disappear, after they're viewed. We find out the hard way later they don't, and that's where the domestic violence piece will kick in, where I'm going to break up with you, or I'm going to leave you, and I have these photos, and I will share them, or I'll use them in a different way. So it is one that's very common out there, but there's some side effects that if you don't take the time to talk to your children about, or you don't understand it, you'd never know to explain it to them. And they're gonna just use the app. Their friends are gonna say, hey, sign up for this, let's share photos, let's share, ideas, and they'll never know. So that's a good one that has caused some problems for a lot of people in the area. I just heard today from one of our detectives, there's a new app called Yellow I think it's an add-on on Snapchat. I might have the technology wrong, but it's like Tinder. So you slide to the left or the right if you like or don't like or approve of somebody, but it's part of the Snapchat app. But that one as well, as some of these apps you'll see have a geography locator on them that actually plots where you are. So as you're on this app and you're swiping to the left or the right of what your interests are, who you like, you can see who else is on that app in your area. Now, this app was designed for kids to meet people all around the world and share ideas and exchange and be friends, but that geography piece is very strange. So now you picture the guys out there that are the predators, like the photos we saw earlier, they may once again be on this app and monitoring where the little dot is, and it's 2 blocks away. I'm gonna start communicating with that person more and try to locate them. So that's kind of the scary stuff, but those apps, when they're created, may not intend that, but that's how they end up getting used, and maybe not everybody understands the consequences when they start using the application. Some of these apps are also the dating apps. So this is a newer one, Meet Me. Nothing, it matches people up, but this has that same effect. Lots of personal information is required. So now you have names, age, zip codes, and the location service. So once again, it's another application that as a parent, if you don't know what that little logo means, you may be looking through their phone quick and not know what it is. Well, it's another way that communication is happening out there that you may not understand or realize without putting some effort into kind of digging into that specific account. The last couple slides I have are just some other pieces that, once again, the detectives that work these cases brought up to me and said, here's some things, and even to backtrack, some of these apps, the main reason they brought it up is they said, when we work these cases and investigate and talk to kids, and eventually talk to the parents and explain what happened and how we got here, a lot of these apps were ones or topics that parents said, I had no idea how that works, that they were doing that, what that even means. So that's some of the pieces that they want to make sure we shared. And that's where a lot of my topics came to. That's where I narrowed down the thousands of apps to just those few. But the hidden apps, this first one here, everybody's seen that on your, if you have an iPhone, you can group some apps together, and then you have to basically open it, almost like a folder on your computer, where now you open that folder, and there's 2 or 3 apps in there. Kind of streamlines your desktop on your phone, makes it a little easier to find things. But as a parent, do you know that when you only see one, there could still be 2 or 3 pages if you swipe to the side behind there. So you're gonna look in there and say, okay, he's got his contacts in there, he's got his calculator, everything's cool on Johnny's phone, not knowing that it doesn't have to be full before the next page can happen. So they could have slid over and dropped something there, and it's not even locked down or need a password, it's just kind of hidden from your site. It's not easy to find. So that's one that they see a lot, that the parents are like, well, how do you find this on their phone? And here it's just off to the side, kind of hidden away, and it's not easy to locate. And then vault apps is what they're called, and these are apps that basically it's a locked down application. You need a password or a code or some way to get into it. And that's where we find a lot of these photos are stored. So you talk about the kids sharing the photos at a school, or the team or the group passed them on. Well, they go, geez, my mom looks at my phone every night, so how do I hide it, or how do I keep this so I can do something with it another day? Well, they lock it into an app that isn't easy to find. A lot of them are a working calculator. There's also one of like a flashlight. So if you look at, I'm gonna reference iPhone, that's what I use. It comes with a calculator. So if you see a second calculator app on their phone, that'd be a good time to ask questions like, why do you, are you that into math? And they may say, well, no, it's better than the other one, but it should be suspicious. And the phone comes with a calculator, the code comes with a flashlight. Most of these is an app already. Why is there 2? It's back to that getting involved by asking questions, digging in. We should be able to piece it together, but a lot of this isn't brain science. It's just kind of using your parent radar. It doesn't smell right, doesn't look right. Why do you have 2 flashlights? Oh, it's just a backup if I can't find the other one. That doesn't make sense. So ask questions, dig into it. For instance, the calculator, it actually works. So if they open it up, it's gonna work and everything. So now you're going, oh, wait, it works, it must be real. To access it, it's basically a sequence of keys they would have to hit, and then boom, it opens up. So that's what's really tricky about that kind of stuff, is it's gonna do, the flashlight one's gonna work as well, but if they do a certain sequence, it's going to open up, and it's gonna be basically a folder where they're storing mainly photos. And that's where, back to the topic of just kids, it's gonna be the photos or videos that are being housed in there. That's gonna be primary, their need for them. One thing I learned today, and it might not work on every phone, but for instance, like on some of the iPhones, when you want to move your apps around, you kind of hold on the screen and then they all get a little wiggly, is the technical term I found out today. I don't know. Technical, but they all start kind of getting jiggly and they have the little X above them so you can X them out or move them. If you do this, the vault ones won't do that because they're locked. So it doesn't let you move them or delete them because you need the passcode again. So one of our investigators noted that she had found that out recently, that that's an easy way to catch them. Now, granted, I'm sure somebody today has already figured out a way to beat us to that punch, but that's one way they kind of stand out. But just, be cognizant of that. It's back to that digging, asking questions, knowing what's on their phone. Or if you're looking at the phone a lot, and all of a sudden one day, a bunch of stuff is moved into these kind of, folders, these extra things like this. Why is that different today? And that might be the clue that they figured out or thought of a new way to kind of hide something new that happened that day. And then the rest are just some other concerns that come up, back to things of parents saying, I didn't know. So, like the Xbox situation, that I think isn't as rare today, but 5-6 years ago, there's a lot of parents that would be, wait, how did he meet this guy? Or how did he come across this stranger? Or who is he talking to? He's downstairs playing video games in his Xbox. I don't understand. He doesn't have a phone, he doesn't text. How would he be communicating? Well, Xbox and different games, of course, that most of you should know by now, but are ways that kids are communicating with people all across the world or in your neighborhood. So they're meeting people, they're communicating, they're sharing information, and it's a really hard way to monitor. But back to that, asking questions, paying attention, knowing their patterns and their habits, and being cognizant of that. Same with texting without an active cell phone plan, and that is well now too, because we have iPads and more devices that aren't cellular devices. People know there's a lot more of these apps, but we used to run a lot of times where the kid would be 12 or 13, the parents say, well, I gave him my old cell phone so he can play games and do stuff, but it's not active, it's not turned on, so how is he texting all these people and communicating? And the parents just didn't know that the apps still allow you to do that if you're using the right applications. So that one is a big one, and then just touching on domestic violence again, it is a big issue, the bullying that happens, the control that happens. Back to you're 16, you're trying to break up with your boyfriend. Well, it's a little harder when he's got photos of you and has the ability and threatens to share these photos and do things. And you go, wait, I'm on this club or on this team and I'm pretty popular and a good social standing, and now it's all gonna blow up and he's gonna share these photos. So I guess I'll stay with him a couple of months and maybe I can talk him out of it, or maybe it'll work out. It's a big tool, big leverage tool, and that permeates way down into, like I said, junior high, high school, as a way that gets a big effect in our community. So. And just moving on, here's some questions, and I think even the NetSmarts thing, the last thing we'll talk on, a lot of similar stuff too. What do you do? What do you do moving forward? And a lot of that is just what I've already talked about, just being involved, asking questions, like Ron talked about, explaining what are proper ways to use this, or what are ramifications, or what are things that could happen, and talking and talking and talking, and just hitting that home, letting them know expectations, and also doing it to protect them. And mine will wrap up. They'll give a little more time for the NetSmarts people. Like I said, we'll do questions later, but there's my contact information. And for me and Ron especially, call us, email us with questions anytime. That's what we're here for. We're your representatives for the county on these issues. Let us know what we can do, what are problems, what are issues, concerns. We want to deal with it. We also, the Sheriff's Office has a Facebook site and Twitter site, Scott Post Sheriff's Office. We try to share a lot of information with us, weather related to current events, to things we're doing in the public. Keep you aware, and it's an easy way to communicate, so follow that, and then I have my own page as well. So thank you for your time, and I'll let the FBI folks take it from here.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Hodekine, and